One of my favorite cases, and we have a lot of original material on this, is a case going back and predating Roswell and predating the 1947 wave of sightings. It goes back to 1942 along the coast of California. It's an event known as the Battle of LA. And in fact, just right there, we have some of the original Battle of LA newspapers and the original photograph, which I have right here. And the object, there was a mysterious object that came in towards the California coast, and we thought it was the Japanese attacking. The entire West Coast was thrown into a blackout situation. Anti-aircraft batteries and searchlights converged on a mysterious object that was moving, as the military report stated, too slow to be an aircraft. We didn't have helicopters in 42. This object made 2 sweeps around the greater Los Angeles area, was bombarded by over 1,700 rounds of anti-aircraft fire, apparently remained unscathed, and then eventually disappeared from the direction from whence it came, from the northwest, and departed over the Pacific Ocean. We have photographs of this object. We have contemporaneous news accounts describing exactly what was documented in that photograph. We have original radio transmission recordings of the newscaster that morning describing this event that played out. So we have photographic evidence, we have radar confirmation, we have a copious amount of government documents that were only released in the late 70s with the Freedom of Information Act being expanded. And so as late as 77, 78, we finally had the documents to look back on this case from 1942. And of course, I've collected tons of original front page headlines. And what we try to do is synthesize all this material and try to make sense out of it. And what we're left with when we look at that particular case is there was an object of unknown origin that did not fly like an aircraft, did not appear to be a balloon, that was able to move 120 miles inland off the Pacific, fired on by 1,700 rounds. Object had the ability to hover at times, as reported by witnesses, and then the object disappeared. And when one looks at the original negative of the photograph, there is an elliptical object that's in the convergence of these searchlights. What it is, I don't know. I'll actually be lecturing on this at one of the Rio Rancho libraries in March, and I've lectured across the country on this particular case. I think I've done more investigative work on this case than anyone because I have the historical data to draw from. And it's just one of those that, unlike a lot of UFO reports that can be explained away, it's one of those that, despite your best efforts in trying to attribute some type of conventional prosaic explanation, we're still left with a question mark. Now, that doesn't mean extraterrestrial. We don't jump to that conclusion. At best, we can do what the Air Force did during their 22-year investigation. When we rule out all practical explanations, if we're still left with this object that we can't explain or identify, all we can say is it's unknown. And that's the best we can do in these cases.